Okay, so I had to split my PS2 collection in half because, well, that's half of it. The other half is there. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to do with my Wii games. But nevertheless, we are here to continue. So this is my PS1 and PS2 games collection. Now we're going to start with the PS1 games. As you can see, this is just a generic DVD case. But what is inside, perhaps, is more interesting to you. Rugrats Studio Tour. Since I'm afraid this disc is going to explode if I take it off, so considering how old this thing is, I'll just talk about the game a bit. As many of you know from my 34th Let's Play of it, as it was the Mystery Box Let's Play, Rugrats Studio Tour is, well, it's Rugrats. It's a basically sort of like a mixture of like a Mario Party game and like other things where you have a bunch of different mini games to play that are centered on what the babies from the original show can do. Definitely a fun game. I just don't remember. I just unfortunately my memories of this game of my last time playing it are kind of dampened because the last time I played it was when my grandfather died. So yeah, not a lot of fond memories with that. And speaking of things I don't have fond memories of, The Lion King, Simba's Mighty Adventure, the Collector's Edition. Ooh. I'm just gonna go out and say it. This is the worst game I own. Like, seriously, the worst game I own. And there is, like, so much about this game that agitates me to no end. The gameplay is awful. Simba moves like he's a freaking tank. Half of the friggin' they have like all of the they have like video cutscenes from the movie, except actually both this and Lion King 2, but most of the voice actors are changed. Like, it's so bad hearing Cam Clark as Simba when he wasn't good at it yet, and it was friggin' Matthew Broderick I would have just kept lines out of the game and just let the cutscenes go or whatever. It's just, aside from that, the mini games are bad, the music is repetitive and obnoxious, and you beat everybody by rolling into them. It's basically the Aladdin game on Super Nintendo, but 8 times worse. I don't usually own bad games, I don't usually keep bad games when I find out that they're really bad if I've never played them before. That is the one exception, because I need to do a Let's Play on that because of how awful it is. The last of the blank cases has a PS2 game in it. Before any of you are thinking, oh, he's got another PS1 game. Nope, those are the only 2 PS1 games I have. After having to discuss an awful movie tie-in game, let's talk about a good one. Revenge of the Sith. Now, Revenge of the Sith also has the same issues that that The Lion King Simba's Mighty Adventure has, in that the gameplay characters and their interactions are, oh my god, they're so annoying. Anakin's voice in this is so awful. And it was from the original Clone Wars show too, but in the Clone Wars show he was actually a decent character. In this, he's just whiny and obnoxious. Obi-Wan's fine, but just to hear a lot of the watered-down versions of some of these characters, it's just it's just weird. Also, this game skips the entire Padme gimmick of Anakin joining the dark side, and basically just has Anakin just decide out of nowhere, yeah, I'm a Sith now, bye. They show the scene of Obi-Wan bringing Luke to Owen and Beru on Tatooine, but that's about it. It's just, ugh. Aside from that, though, the gameplay is fun. The lightsaber combat is some of the best in the franchise, and not gonna lie, I spent a lot of time in multiplayer mode with my friends playing that game. Now, on to Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. The only one of the Ratchet and Clank games I have because a couple of years back, a cousin of mine was suffering from cancer, and since he wasn't going to be able to work or go to school or anything, I gave him a good chunk of my original Ratchet and Clank collection. The only one I didn't give him was Up Your Arsenal because he had a copy of that. In case you don't know, the Ratchet and Clank franchise was created by Insomniac, who were the original creators of the Spyro universe. And even though I remember playing the original Ratchet and Clank a lot more than I remember playing this one, I can safely say Ratchet, just this series in general, is one of the better PlayStation franchises out there. It's just a shame that its most recent attempts to reboot the franchise have been awful. The movie and the game. But again, that's to be expected. You can't win them all. Speaking of not being able to win them all, and former creators of another PlayStation icon, this is Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. Created by Naughty Dog, the original creators of Crash Bandicoot. This one I sank hours into as a kid. I loved this game growing up. Haven't played it recently, mostly because my PlayStation 2 is garbo, and it doesn't work half the time. But when it does work, it works very well, and when I do, unfortunately, I just don't want to play this. I'm in the mood to play other things, like, in fact, the last time I played my PS2, the thing I played most recently was Battlefront 2 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Could not remember anything about this game, but I just remember going on my memory card, and I remember I had, like, 15 hours sunk into this game as a little kid when I was only allowed, like, half an hour to an hour of game time a day when I was in school. Of course, summertime is when I devoted to the bigger games, which we'll get to in a moment. But, yeah. Very good game. I hear the sequels are also as good, but I don't own them, so I'll just have to take everyone's word for it. The definitive game of one TheNMan64, Kingdom Hearts. Now, this is not the Kingdom Hearts game, or this is not the Kingdom Hearts disc/box that I got for my birthday. Because, my birthday, was it my birthday? I think it was Christmas 2002 I got this. That is because, right around the time Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, I was playing through the game again for like the 100 millionth time, and the disc died. And I had almost like a major panic attack when I was playing, and I was like, like having breathing problems, freaking out, spazzing out, as like an 11-year-old shouldn't be doing that, to the point where my dad actually thought I was like faking it and like started yelling at me and crap. But then he's like, "Oh shit, you actually do, like you're bugging out over this." So he told my mom. My mom took me to GameStop the next day, and we bought a used copy for, I think it was $20 at the time. But since then, this disc has not given out on me, and I've had it for 15 years now, so yeah. Whenever I want to play the original Kingdom Hearts game, I boot this one up. And I have all my save files set to my favorite boss fight, so if I want to go in and fight this swagalicious fathermucker Jafar, I can do that. I wouldn't fight Ursula, though. She looks creepy. She looks sketchy. I don't like sketchy people. Sketchy people are all about in Kingdom Hearts 2, though. As many of you know, Kingdom Hearts 2, despite being the sequel to the first, is my all-time favorite video game. Well, Final Mix mostly, but this is where the roots of most of Final Mix came from anyway, so a much more expanded version of Kingdom Hearts, which, in case you've never watched a single video on my channel, is a bizarre series where Disney and Final Fantasy mix. You wouldn't think they'd mix, but they do. They mix very well. And like Kingdom Hearts 1, I have all my save files set to my favorite boss fights from this game. Unfortunately, since it's the final mix version, there are no 13 mushrooms to get. There's no lingering will. There's no 13 mushrooms. There's no Cavern of Remembrance. The only tough thing about this game is the Hades Paradox Cup and Sephiroth. So once you beat those, the game just sort of sits there. But hey, like I said, it's fun. I enjoy it. Not nearly as much as Final Mix, but again, we'll get the Final Mix when we get the Final Mix. Because we're not there yet. Duh. Next up, Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. The sort of sequel to The Nightmare Before Christmas, where Jack now has to save the world, all of the worlds of the holidays, from the newly revived Oogie Boogie, where he tries to take over all of the holidays and take out everybody. I got this game when it first came out. I wasn't really a big fan of it, but I had fond memories of it, oddly enough, a few years back, so I went and picked it up. And lo and behold, it was actually a pretty fun game. It's got a lot of personality to it that a lot of Disney games really did not have, with the exception of these monstrosities back then. So, yeah. I definitely enjoy the living crap out of this game, and a Let's Play of it is coming. I won't say when, but it's coming. Give or take, it's going to be in a Halloween at some point. So either October of this year, October of next year, or October of some October in the future. Hello, Traverse Town. The last game we'll be talking about here is one of my all-time favorite video games. And not a final mixed version of such. This is Star Wars Battlefront 2. I did have Battlefront 1, but unfortunately I had to make some moves when I first moved from my my grandfather's house. And before you say this is a used, no, this is the copy I've had since 2005 when this game first came out. I played the ever-loving shit out of this game. And the disc shows, like, it'll very rarely work. But when it does, it'll work, and I will have way too much fun with this game. In case you don't know, the Battlefront games are essentially, think like a more sci-fi-ish version of Call of Duty, except far better music, more entertaining gameplay, and instead of it just being you mauling zombies, it's you mauling robots or mauling stormtroopers. And you get to take part in space battles and Jedi battles. It's friggin' awesome. I love this game. One of my top 10 all-time favorites, hands down. Honestly, I'd say the only games that I like more than Battlefront 2 are Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Spyro 3, and, like I said, Kingdom Hearts 2. But this was part 1 of the PlayStation 2 collection. Stay tuned because part 2 is coming right up next. Stay classy, YouTube.